Leland Gaunt opens a new shop in Castle Rock called Needful Things. Anyone who enters his store finds the object of his or her lifelong dreams and desires. A prized baseball card, a healing amulet. In addition to a token payment, Gaunt requests that each person perform a little deed, usually a seemingly innocent prank played on someone else from town. These practical jokes cascade out of control, and soon the entire town is doing battle with itself. Only Sheriff Alan Pangborn suspects that Gaunt is behind the population's increasing violent behavior. Needful Things. 1 minute. What is the name of the character that owns the antique store in Rick and Morty? Lucifer Needful. And the name of the store? Needful Things. Well, that's interesting. Hello readers, I did not clickbait you, but first we do have to talk about the book, then very briefly the movie, and then we'll get right into Rick and Morty. So first of all, Stephen King does a phenomenal job in world building, character development. The summary itself is spot on. Each character goes into the shop and finds something that they need, but then they are willing to do a crazy activity for this seemingly expensive item that they only pay like pocket change for. The first character in Needful Things, and we're not going to be going over each character and what they get, what they have to do, and who gets affected and how they react. That's way too much. It was over 900 pages of words. We would be here for hours. So Brian Rusk is the first one to go into the store and finds a Brooklyn Dodgers Sandy Koufax card that is signed to Brian. Leland Gaunt, the store owner, says to him, "You may have this for 13 cents and a prank." And to the 11-year-old boy, this doesn't add up to him either. He knows that this card is valuable. He knows who Sandy Koufax is in terms of being a phenomenal pitcher in his day, or even now. You probably still heard of him if you follow baseball. If you don't, you probably still heard of him. Yeah. Whatever. Brian Rusk promises to pull a prank on Wilma Jerzyk by throwing mud onto her clean sheets. And to me, this was one of those things where you see this meme on the internet that says, "Would you slap your friend for $1 million?" You're like, yeah, of course I would. So something like that, you're like, that was a seemingly innocent, who cares, right? Right, who cares? That night, Wilma asked her husband, "Did you go get the laundry off the clothesline?" And he said, "No, I forgot." So she goes out into the dark. She feels this slimy, like, I guess she assumed it was a hand caress her face, and she panicked. She is freaked out. And then she falls down. Her husband comes out and turns on the lights, and she sees that it's, muddy sheets. Wilma, who's been fighting with Nettie Cobb about Nettie's dog just barking and driving her crazy literally months ago. Like, the puppy's outgrown it. But Wilma thinks that it has to be Nettie. Has to be Nettie who did this to her sheets. Because I don't know that she knows Brian. There's never really any connection that I remember anyway. It was 900 pages. Maybe there was some sort of connection, but because there is no connection, there's no reason for Wilma to think it was Brian that has done this. Wilma decides that, okay, before we get into that, so Nettie Cobb's actually this character who just got released from a mental institution, has been working for one of the two main characters, Polly. He's one of the only people that's incredibly nice to Nettie. She has a job, she gave her a job right out of the mental institution. She's her cook. Nettie was in a mental institution for killing her abusive husband after he broke one of her carnival glasses. If you don't know what a carnival glass, do a quick Google search. It really isn't anything. Like, I'm sure we all had an aunt, a great aunt, a grandmother, a great grandmother, somebody that had carnival glass. So her item from Needful Things was actually a carnival glass lampshade, and literally once you see it, you'll be like, oh, I remember that. That looks like something from like Ruby Tuesdays or something, right? No accounting for taste. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. No accounting for trends either. I'm sure it was popular at the time, or at some time, right? It's fine. It's fine. No, it's very bizarre to me to have some woman decide, I'm gonna go harass someone that just came out of a mental institution. That's not the action. That's not the play. I don't know why that was the decision, but I didn't make these characters. Brian returns to Wilma's place and takes rocks and throws them into her window, breaking the windows, breaking like the microwave and things inside, because he has this, I guess, vision of Sandy Colfax, really leaning on, talking to him and saying, are you sure that was it? Are you sure that was the only thing you had to do? Like, you have this valuable, invaluable playing cards signed to you from me. Are you sure? Was it specifically said you only have to do one prank? Is that what he said? So, because, he had this vision, he went back and he performed this other prank, which was, vandalism at this point, right? Hugh Priest, another character in the book, his prank is to go kill Nettie Cobb's dog. So, of course, the two ladies both think it's the other one doing these things. So they meet up and then kill each other. The whole book is like this, and really, Stephen King, masterful of suspense, just masterful. I was losing sleep because I needed to know what everybody had to do. And then once I learned what everybody had to do, I needed to know how they were going to react. And once I knew how they were going to react, I needed to know the follow-up consequences to that. Exhausting. This is a big book to have to go through, but then it's also, you need to go through it. You need to read it. You need to finish it. Masterful suspense. I know everybody gives Stephen King credit for the horror genre and being excellent at that and being super scary, but we sleeping on him when it comes to suspense. He also did, Misery, which I guess that's scary. It's scary in a psychological way, but then there's Shawshank Redemption and The Body. Well, Stand By Me if you watch the movie, but he's such a phenomenal writer, period. But this book is so good. I would compare it to it minus the horror aspect of it, just because the characters are so great in detail. The world itself is excellent. If you're a Stephen King reader, you know how dark he actually gets in his books. Movies, TV shows, miniseries, they lightly touch certain aspects. Like, I even know here on YouTube, if you watch YouTube videos, they say things like R word, P word, SA. They don't actually say the words, whereas it's very stomach churning. That was a big part of the book as well. Not a big part, it was a portion of the book, it was a scoopski of the book, was this religious duel between the Catholics and the Baptists. And like I said, I could have did without. If you're like nervous about reading this book because Stephen King has this reputation of horror, don't be. I was nervous. I was like, I read before bedtime, I'm gonna get nightmares, what am I gonna do? But then, I ended up losing sleep because it's a turn pager. You need to know what's happening next because of all the suspense. Definitely be prepared to lose sleep anyway, so I don't know what to tell you. But it was good. I would say it's worth it. So now we're going to talk about the movie. It was very early on in reading the book that I connected the whole Rick and Morty thing. And I was like, wait a minute. Was this a thing? I'm like, was this on Rick and Morty? That I was just like, cool. I have no interest in watching this movie. So before we start tearing apart this movie, we do want to give credit to the fact that the movie was only 2 hours long. It was 960 plus pages of, world building, character development, obsession, guilt, so much to put into 2 hours. It's almost like you were doomed to fail anyway. And if you like this movie, that's fine. It still has good themes and it's still a little scary, kind of, not really. There's a lot more action than scary, which can be good also. To give it credit, I also thought the character of Leland Gaunt was not at all what I was thinking, but I did think it was good casting because he was very charming. He was very charismatic, and that's something that needed to be, and that's something that was important because that's how he was in the book, but it's not just, but because you're reading it, you know he's evil. So it's kind of like, we kind of only saw him for the most part, or for most of the movie, we kind of saw him as like this, oh, and here's a baseball card, Brian, I know you'll like it. You know, so it's very, you know, it's cute. It was, you know, it was a good call on their decision with Leland Gaunt. Well, obviously, you're gonna lose some of the characters. Some of those characters, goodbye, right? For starters, Sally Radcliffe wasn't in there. Sally Radcliffe was my favorite. Sally Radcliffe was my girl. Very cute. She was saving herself for marriage. She had a boyfriend who was a gym teacher or coach. Her fiance was part of the school. She was a part of the school. They're very cute. Her prank that got pulled on her was she found a letter in his car. So she opens it up and it's a love letter and she thinks it's a student, right? Like, why wouldn't it be? Who else would it be? But then falls out a photo of him groping his ex-girlfriend. And I have to say, the whole book, this was the main thing that didn't make sense to me. There were two characters in the book that I would describe as aggressive, that their extreme reaction to their prank made sense to me. And that was Wilma Jerzik. She was an aggressive person, and Danford Keaton was also an aggressive person. Everybody else, it could have been either way. Like, they could have acted aggressively accordingly, or, you know, it just didn't make sense that there were some people that didn't act passively, or there was no confrontation in terms of, like, you know, why did you do this to me? Not even necessarily like I'm gonna go fight you, but like there's nobody that wanted to just go up to him and be like, why did you do this? What were you thinking? So clearly, like, there were things that, like, this person and this person were the only people that knew that. So it's kind of like, you know, Mean Girls with the burn book, and it's like, well, if you didn't write the book, you told somebody. You know, to ask your characters to all react aggressively, it's a lot. However, with the evil entity there, and it being a Stephen King book, you do have to give some allowances to supernatural behavior, like the aggressiveness of literally everybody in the town. With that being said, my girl Sally. Now, Sally found that letter, found the picture, and burned it. She spray painted his car, and they broke up. And I'm not saying anything in terms of anything, but if you're gonna have a conversation with anybody, it's gonna be your partner. It's gonna be the person you're engaged to. You're gonna have a conversation. You wanna know. You wanna know what's up, because right now, Sally thinks her fiance cheated on her. And I mean, I wouldn't have burned it, like I said, you know, and clearly the fiance can just be like, I don't know what that is, I don't know, or whatever, right? So what had happened was her fiance lost his wallet, you know, Leland Gaunt stole it, took this photo of him and his ex-girlfriend groping at like this bar or whatever, and put it in the letter and gave it to someone to go put in the car. Now, can see you having a picture of your ex. I can see that, right? I'm not stupid. I'm 30 years old. I know that we collect stuff through our lives, that if you have a photo of someone somewhere, I get it. I see it. I'm not stupid. I know things exist. I know that you had a life before me. I get it. I'm single. I don't know why I'm talking about a fictitious partner, but it's fine. Why you got it in your wallet? This person's not innocent, period. Like, right? Like, you're engaged. Why would you have a photo of this person in your wallet? So I would want to have this conversation with him because he's not innocent. No. This person's not like this innocent bystander in terms of whatever. You're engaged to this person. You don't want to hear what he has to say. Two people in that photo could very easily have been, she had written that letter, that was an old photo, and she wants to break up their engagement so she can end up back with him. We're just open to the possibilities. And we could just be open to the possibilities, but she immediately destroyed the car and burned the picture and the letter. Like I said, I wish that they had had that conversation. I wish he would have came out and said, no, that wasn't my wallet. My wallet got stolen, because that would have been a fight. Girl, that would have been a fight. That would have been a fight. That would have been a fight. I know they're in their early 20s, but that would have been a fight. Why you got that photo of you groping your ex? It wasn't like a cute little, no. It was like hand up a skirt, photo, tongue down a no. You want to know. You want to know. So I wish she would have had that conversation with him. I think that's just the inner Philly in me. Like, why you got that photo, man? Why you got it? You didn't write that letter. She didn't write the letter. You didn't see her. Why is that photo in your wallet? Just that. I get people have photos and tokens and things of exes, but that's scattered throughout your house. You have your wallet every day. You go in your wallet every day. You got to get cash. You got to get your debit card, your credit card, your driver's license sometimes. Why are you bypassing this photo every day? Why is that in there? You still on with this person? Whatever. I'm just saying. Sally was my favorite. I think her reaction was incorrect, though. I think I obviously love the tea. I love the tea. Obviously, Sally was my favorite character. Their story was like very cutesy, and then this happened, and she just immediately was like, he's cheating on me. And I love the tea. I think her friend did her dirty and wasn't trying to calm her down. I think she was kind of like, yeah. I say did her dirty, but she was hyping her up too. I think, I take it back. Maybe she was doing it. Maybe she was a good friend. Maybe that was good. I'm like, yeah. F him. You don't need to hear what he's got to say. You were only engaged to him. He gonna cheat. Bye. 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 I thought that was my headband. My headband's still up here. Love the tea. But there's still goofy. And then instead of him immediately going somewhere else, he gets his prank, which was a kid coming up to him and saying, I saw your fiance, I saw Miss Radcliffe making out with this guy. And then of course the fiance's gotta go fight. Whatever. They were my favorite. They didn't make the movie for obvious reasons. But here's the other thing that didn't make the movie. The obsession, the inner monologue, the inner guilt, Leland Gaunt invading their psyche and talking them up and talking them, no, that prank was just a prank. You're fine. This is what you have to do. A lot of that was lost. So it was just, if you just watch the movie without the context of the book, it's literally just cause and effect, action, cause and effect, bam, cause and effect, death. It had to be 2 hours, 1,000 pages. Yeah. This is my plea. Please, please, please. Reboot Needful Things into a miniseries. If you know someone from Netflix or Hulu, you know, Disney Plus. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Disney doesn't make those types of movies anymore, I don't think. If any Stephen King movie needed a reboot or deserved a reboot, it's Needful Things. I would equate it to it in terms of character and world building, and there's just so many people that you're rooting for that you had to get lost. It had to get lost. There's so many themes and intricacies that we're going to get lost in a 2-hour movie. Someone please remake this book. Make it a miniseries. Make it pop off. Really, you could do like one item per day or per episode. You could do one item per episode, and then it's like we gotta find out what Hugh Priest's gonna do today. We gotta find out what Danford's about to do. Danford's tiny psycho. He was also an abusive partner. The other thing that was different that I wanted to talk about was in the movie, it wasn't Sandy Koufax, it was Mickey Mantle, whose baseball card was signed to Brian. It's funny because when you read it, you know, it just says Sandy Koufax baseball card, and then eventually it says Brooklyn, you know, the Brooklyn Dodgers. And I'm like, because at first I was like, why would a kid from Maine care about LA? That's me being silly. And once I read Brooklyn, I'm like, oh, just kidding. The reason I wanted to bring this up is Stephen King being, I don't know what they're called, a Maine citizen. You know, Stephen King being from Maine, he roots for Boston. You don't know Red Sox and the Yankees, okay, but that's just one of those things that I found interesting when I watched the movie, and I was like, I wonder how Stephen King feels about this. I'm sure it's fine, right? I would say Mickey Mantle's the better baseball player, but hey, I'm from Philly. I don't care. They're not in our conference. Well, I guess the Dodgers are in our conference, but they're not in our division. Like, I don't care. But another thing that got lost in the movie was the obsession with the item intensified because of the reaction to the prank. So the baseball card meant a lot more that 2 people died over it. 2 people died because of his prank. And we didn't really get that in the movie. Again, it's a 2-hour movie. When I first connected those pieces of Rick and Morty in this book, I was like, whoa boy. Are the creators trying to poke holes at Stephen King? Are they making jabs at Stephen King? Do you think you're smarter than Stephen King, this man who is taking over essentially the writing world? There's no writer that exists that doesn't want to be Stephen King. Period, point blank, not sorry. And then I finished reading the book. In the book, the main character, Alan Pangborn, doesn't trust Leland Gaunt. In Rick and Morty, the main character, Rick, doesn't trust Lucius Needful. In the book, Polly Clammers gives Leland the benefit of the doubt. In Rick and Morty, Summer gives Mr. Needful the benefit of the doubt. And then ultimately, they both team up at the end and get the evil entity out of town. So, basically, am I saying that the creators of Rick and Morty did a better job at making a version of Needful Things than these movie creators? I'm not saying it, but I'm implying it. I mean, given the option, I'd probably watch that episode again, maybe not the movie. Yeah. Yeah, that was basically it. That's so funny. Like I really did think that this was gonna be one of those things where I was like, who are you? How dare you? Then I finished reading the book and I was like, spot on. Good job. I read the book, watched the movie, watched that episode, and was like, that was basically the book. That was very close in terms of simplistic, shorten it to the bare minimal of theme, what happened, good guy, good girl, bad guy, end. Good job. I'm an adult. I can say when I was wrong. I very wrongfully accused the creators of taking jabs at Stephen King, and then I was like, oh no, you're a fan. Good job. A+. A+. Great, actually. So really, is it Rick and Morty versus Stephen King? No, but if anything, if we could campaign Netflix to do a mini-series, if we could do a mini-series on, we could campaign Netflix to just get this mini-series of Needful things out, that would be great. This whole channel would be worth it, even if I never become a published writer. I'm just kidding. That still will be my dream. It'll always be my dream. I'll be 99, close to my deathbed, and I'll never stop dreaming of this. Thank you for watching, readers. Until next time, I'm thinking it just because it's so good. Be sure to check out my website. I have new content up. So I have a new series on my website coming out, and it's actually out now. It's called the Neon Light Collection. It's little cutesy drawings that I made, and then a little poem or a little short story. So be sure to check out my vulnerability and make fun of me on that page, on that website. Hopefully this little SK review is going to hype you up. If not, you're already there. Fun story. Here's your cocktail tidbit. I had to reshoot this, and so I had notes because I did about an hour and a half of filming to only realize later that it was blurry and tilted. So instead of releasing that, I had to refilm this. It's a fun story. I don't know that I've been crazy enough. Am I crazy enough today? That's right. Punch out a $2,000 pyramid, Jennifer. You're making good decisions.